Okay, I'm here with my pastor, Pastor Bascom, and he will explain to us what does free will mean and does God really give us free will. So, do you think God really gives us free will?
Yes, I do.
And why is that?
Well, I know a lot of people say things like, oh, if God gives us free will, but he knows what we're going to do. Is that really free will? What we have to keep in mind is that when we read in the Bible, when he created our foreparents, Adam and Eve, he gave them free will. He gave them the right to choose what was right and what was wrong. He gave them the opportunity to do that. They unfortunately chose wrong. And by choosing to do wrong, they thereby perverted the rest of the human race. So that even though we have free will, which we do have, and even though God may know, hey, we're going to do wrong anyway, what's wrong in us, he didn't create. That is inherited from the first sin of our foreparents, Adam and Eve.
Okay, so a question I have is, all right, if that is all true, then why is it really free will if, yes, he made us, he knows what we're going to do, and even though we were made perfect Adam and Eve was made perfect, like, the fact that we have a choice, but at the same time he knows what we're going to do, doesn't that kind of contradict the free will statement?
Not at all. It doesn't contradict it at all. Because free will is essentially the freedom to choose. You can know what somebody's doing, but that doesn't mean, but you just have the knowledge of knowing what they're doing. If you try to stop it, that's a different thing, because that means you're trying to take away their right to choose.
So, in recent stories, the shooting that happened. So, God, well, we'll say from a religious standpoint, God made everyone. So, for those of you that are atheists, this is just from my point of view. So God made him. God knew what he was going to do, knew his own life before he even came out. So, the fact that he did that, does that make God the villain because God knew what he was going to do even before he was born? Should free will be taken away? That's what I'm trying to say.
If free will was taken away from us, we would just be mindless robots going over to a preset of programming already installed in us.
Okay, if it's not.
But we're not mindless robots. We all have been given minds, and we all have. There are many examples throughout human history of bright minds. We have Einstein, we have Socrates, we have Isaac Newton, among so many others who are bright minds. Even today, we have Stephen Hawking, who's still alive in England. Many examples of bright minds. They're as smart as they are because they chose to study, chose to learn, chose to be educated to learn those things. Removing free will from humanity doesn't solve the problem. And as a matter of fact, makes it worse. And everything that we can read in the Bible about who God is. The Bible says he's merciful. The Bible says he's just. The Bible says he's loving. If he removes free will from us, we can't say he's any of those things.
He becomes more of a master.
He becomes more of a taskmaster who just says, do this and do that, and we just automatically do this and do that.
Okay. All right. Well, one last thing that I'd like to bring up. I don't know if you saw the movie Life of Pi. No? Okay. Well, in this movie, this guy takes on the belief of many religions, combining into his own. Because, like my philosophy teacher says, we all have a weather vane. And you know how weather vanes, it blows depending on the direction of the wind. So, in our class, we were taught many things like, how strong is our weather vane when it comes to listening to other people's beliefs or things that may contradict our own beliefs. So in this movie, he seems to be a mixture of Catholic, Muslim, and a few other religions. But somehow he seems to proportion it well during the movie by either his praying habits before eating, his sense, and Hinduism too, by like just admiring the skies and praying to certain gods, like the water god when he was trapped out on sea with this enormous tiger. How, you as a pastor, how strong do you believe your weather vane is because you have to preach to a certain religion and follow through with the word and explain to other people?
Well, let me say it like this. You said that pi has was assorted. You had all these different religions
Yeah.
amalgamated into one.
Yes. All the good things.
Well, let me say that I know there's a very well-known philosophy that teaches there are many paths to the mountaintop. But me, as a Christian pastor, as a Seventh-day Adventist pastor, I believe what the Bible says, and the Bible says that Jesus is the way. That essentially means to me that there's only one way to the mountaintop, and that one way is through Christ. So in dealing with that, you have to be very careful about what you say, because the one thing you don't want to do, if you're trying to, let's say you're trying to convert somebody,
Yes.
who may be of a different faith, you don't want to do it in a manner that's offensive. You don't want to offend them because of what they believe in.
Yes.
Because that's just going to turn them the opposite direction and have them completely walk away from you.
Have them more offensive.
Exactly. But you look at certain similarities that are between your faith and their faith, and you build on that, and then you go further than that and begin to show them other things. Show them other things according to your faith. One thing that I like about the Seventh-day Adventist Church as a worldwide institution, we have 5 different centers throughout the world, and they're each on focusing on different philosophies of this day and age. We have a center in, I believe it's in California, that focuses on postmodernism, this postmodern society that we live in, where everybody says, do whatever you want, it's going to be a right anyway. We have a center in the Middle East that focuses on those who are Muslim and how we can minister to them. In Asia, we have one for Buddhists and for Hindus. We have that all throughout the church, and all of it is there to try to help those of us who are Seventh-day Adventist ministers understand these faiths even more, so that in understanding it, we can better minister to them and be more effective and actually bring more people to Christ that way.
Okay. I find that very interesting. I myself did not know that. So, one thing about that is, so you find your weather vane to be very strong because of
Yes.
because your belief in your religion that God is the only way.
Yes.
And this is not saying that, if you was to live good your whole life, whatever, and not know anything about God, that you're not going to make it to heaven. It's just that because you believe in this religion so strongly, you will follow the guidelines of that religion and, hope to find the certain destination of wherever that religion leads to. So, what would you say to other people who find their weather vane to be strong in other things that doesn't pertain to your religion? Do you see them as wrong, or do you see them as not going to heaven?
Yeah, there's another one. Sorry, excuse me.
Do I see them as wrong, or do I see them as not going to heaven?
And keep in mind the free will.
Free will. I'm trying to form my answer in a way that won't offend anybody.
Yes.
Because what I believe firmly in is that the only way to get to heaven is by accepting the teachings of Jesus Christ. It is by following all 10 of the commandments, the original commandments as found in Exodus chapter 20, not any that have been altered by man or any institution. I believe the Bible says in Revelation 14, it talks about the individuals who make it to heaven. And it says that these are those who have the testimony of Jesus Christ and keep the commandments of God. So because of what I believe and what the Bible makes it absolutely clear to me, the way to heaven is by keeping the commandments of God and having the testimony of Jesus. Being good is nice. Being good is very nice. But there are a lot of people who are good who in spite of their goodness, won't get to heaven because they don't believe. Atheists could be great people. They could be the most philanthropic people you would ever meet in this planet. But because of what I believe in what the Bible says, I don't believe I'll see them on them golden streets in heaven. So, yes, I do believe that there is a right and a wrong way to live this life. Yes, I do believe that not everybody's going to make it to heaven if you're not keeping the commandments of God or have the testimony of Jesus Christ. That's what I believe. And whoever's watching this, if you may feel the way, you know, it's all right. That's what you believe. But as far as I believe and as far as what my Bible tells me, in Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic, not just in the translations to English, that's what it says.
To close, there was once this study, I mean not study, but my teacher told me of this Brahmin in India. And his basic thing was to always try to be very cautious of his religion by always questioning it and finding what should be in it, what should not be in it, what should he believe in, what he shouldn't believe in. And there was this lady who was also in the village that's very strict in her religion, and anything that coincides with it, she puts it out. Like it's like she just rather stays in her house of her belief, and anything that coincides with it, she takes it away. Whereas this Brahmin, even though he's deeply in his religion, he welcomes any thought that may contradict it, and in a way, if it makes more sense to him, a certain way of a religion, he accepts it, and if it doesn't, then he chooses to either push it aside or whatever. Do you find it good that, like, which one would you, this is just a regular question, there's no wrong or right, would you find it better to be a person who, no matter what type of facts that may contradict their religion, to push it aside, or would you find it okay to question things that may contradict your religion if there's a valid point to it?
Okay, I'll say it like this. I was baptized as a baby, as a Catholic baby. I was brought to the Anglican Church when I lived in Jamaica. I've been to Jehovah's Witnesses meetings. I've been Pentecostal, and then I found myself here in the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Much like pie. I forgot to say that.
Okay. I guess you've seen it. I guess much like pie.
Yes.
It is because I wanted to learn more and search more and see more that I've gotten to this place. So, in the context of the story you're telling me, that woman was a very legalistic woman. I'm not with legalism at all. Not at all. Because the problem with legalism is it shuts your eyes to everything. And the one thing you don't want to be is have your eyes shut. Because when you have your eyes shut, you may very well miss the very thing that's going to make you a better human being. So I discredit it all. I do believe that you should take the time to study and learn. But if you're going to question anything as a Christian, if you're going to question everything, make sure you do it with prayer first. If I'm praying and I'm asking God to show me the answer, to show me what's what, to show me what I need to know and need to understand, I'm going to pray. I'm going to pray and ask God to lead me. Because that's the only way God. Christians, any Christian that says they're where they need to be, they don't need to study no more, they need to pray no more, is a liar. And the Bible says the truth is not in them. But me, I'm someone who keeps on studying. I keep reading my Bible every day. I keep studying my Bible every day. I keep going in depth and keep on knowing and understanding so that I can gain the most biblical truth I can get out of anything. So that this notion that, okay, this is what I believe in and that's all, that's not biblical. I never agree with it. Don't agree with it. I believe that Christians, people, should always take the time to always ask questions, legitimate questions, to always try to learn and to understand. But I also understand that as a Christian, there are some things that I will never understand either. I'll never understand why a God would ever come down in the form of a baby, come down to earth for folk like me, for folk like Adam Lanza, for folk like Saddam Hussein, Osama bin Laden, Joseph Stalin. I'll never understand that, but he did it anyway. I won't understand that. I won't understand other mysteries that are found in the world, that are found in the Bible, that are found in life. There's some things I'll never understand. I'll never understand how the human mind operates, and how, even though, science may try to explain it, they don't explain everything. So I don't understand everything. But I know that if I trust in God, He would lead me to the answers that I need for this life right now. And then the rest of the answers that I may not have now, I'm going to get it when I go see Him in glory.
Very interesting. I wish I could have said something like that in class. That is very inspiring. Thank you, Pastor Bascom, for your insight. And this is my report.